See? Welcome to Aural Hygiene. It's the podcast where we talk about educational films, experimental caught films, interesting documentaries. This is Matt here today. Andrew Shearer is also here. Hello, Andrew Shearer.
Hi, I'm here.
I should throw in your middle name too, just to make it extra weird sounding.
Nathan.
Start,
Andrew Nathan
yeah,
Shearer.
start
That's what the
calling people by
pretentious
full
initial
names.
is.
Right.
Yeah, man. Or
Um,
like, am I in trouble?
yeah, you're in trouble for something. I don't know. Today's flick is the third episode of a series. Actually, it was it was called Read All About It. Today's episode is The Problem Pit. Now, I'll ask you to give a quick summary of this. But was this show on your radar? Did you grow up with this one?
Absolutely not. When I heard the problem pit, I just laughed and was like, oh, is this a safety thing about body odor? Is
So
this
you
a
did.
hygiene film? No. And I watched my fair share of Canadian children's television around the stuff from this era because I had Nickelodeon in the early 80s. So most of their programming was all Canadian children's stuff.
That's it. This was a PBS thing. This was, public, like government
Yep.
funded show. So I didn't have cable. So what would happen is I'd have a sick day from school or whatever and sit around and get traumatized by this.
Now I could see that easily. I would not have liked this because it is really creepy. I mean, also solid as educational programming. So you saw it when you were a kid? You never mentioned this to me?
Yeah, because it was on PBS. That wasn't cool. It's you don't come and talk to your friends about what was on Sesame Street. I mean,
Uh,
I don't even think the electric company was in bounds,
oh,
except
okay.
for the parts of Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that that's all more interesting to me, but yeah, so I was
An-
gonna ask how the heck you found this thing, but
Another problem would be, how do you describe this to people? Speaking of which, you want to try describing what you saw?
yeah, well, not having seen the first two episodes of the series, just my understanding of it is that you've got these two young women who seem to be like maybe girls, Lydia and Stacy, and they work at a school newspaper, right? Or some kind of newspaper, which is a recurring thing apparently with this show when I'm on it. Uh, and there are aliens that are trying to take over their town, and so there is a way that they are then teleported to where the aliens hang out. And so in this episode, they are given a bunch of word problems to solve to get out.
Right. So you got some of the things. It's actually there's a boy that is on the other side of the transporter. There's actually three main characters, and he's just not in
Okay.
this one. This show is very happy to dump one of their main characters for multiple episodes. For I think there's
Sure.
another one where they're like, oh, he has a twisted ankle, so he's not here for this particular story arc.
Okay, right.
I guess that
Well,
makes sense when
but
you're a
what
kid.
it does, but what made you pick this one then? Just because of the creep fact? Because I found the aliens to be really creepy. Like the first one, you don't really get to see him, who I assume is like the main guy. Um, but and they're like trying to make sure, oh, are you cool? Like, are you evil? Whatever. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna hurt you. You never get to see him, so he kind of looks like sits zombie like. He's apparently a disembodied head and actually
Right.
tells them, oh, I have no body, because all you need is your mind where we are. But then this other one, the sinister one that's like laughing and stuff, the face is kind of orange. He looks like he came out of a Kenneth Anger film or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a that is it supposed to be the same person? Just like,
Yeah, it's the
haha,
same
I'm evil.
person. He's
Okay.
also it's not a school newspaper. The boy, his uncle had disappeared 7 years earlier, and
So his uncle's like
now he's
property and
right. He gets this 11-year-old kid gets the property and starts running the newspaper again. There's like these weird robots in there, and just it's weird sci-fi stuff. But they make this
cool.
Herbertville Chronicle. Um,
Yeah, okay.
and then oh, this is great for now, because they uncover the conspiracy underlining the town
Right. So they
with
know
their
that like
newspaper.
so is the guy who plays the alien, what's the alien leader's name? It's like the
Dunedin.
Dun okay, so is Dunedin does he have like an avatar that's human, or does he have a human version that's like
Oh,
in the parts of the show?
yes, it's good you asked. In the town of Herbertville, the mayor is Don Eden.
Okay. So cheesy. Okay. So he's in disguise there, and his real the real Dunedin?
Dunedin.
He's Dunedin. Can I have dessert? I he is he's actually just a head, so the body is like nothing, or a robot, or
I
like,
don't actually remember.
okay.
And
All right,
on
so they're
Earth, he's a
okay.
walking mayor. The mayor isn't a disembodied head.
Okay, so when you say they're robots, I'm just trying to be clear about this. We're skating into your other podcast territory here. Um, they are separate, like regular robots.
No, it's funny you mentioned Jambi the genie. There's two robots in the newspaper office. One of them
Okay.
is like a walking iPad, I think. That gives
Like, well,
again like
the
sketch.
magic picture, or,
Yeah,
whatever he
like magic
was.
picture. And then there's it comes across. It's like a robot television.
Oh
Like
man.
it's mounted in the wall, but it has like these big googly eyes that come out. Like they're cute, right? They're supposed to be the fun robots.
Are they though? I mean, that just
They're not
there's
in this episode, right?
the general
You don't see them.
atmosphere of this I found to be creepy. I mean, it was um the environments they're in or seem to be green screen, or must have been blue screen back then. And all the sets or is that the way it is when they're not in the transporter? Or is it just like regular? I guess I need to just watch these other ones, but read
Yeah,
all
yeah.
about it.
There's some regular sets as well. Like again, they have this newspaper set, like this
Okay.
local community newspaper set, which is, except for these two bits of technology, are quite normal looking.
Yeah. No, read all about it seemed to have a budget. I was pretty impressed by the way they did these sets. The ones they were inside the problem pit, which is like a really dark room with like a lot of shapes in it. Um, I mean, it looked of its time, right? This is like late 70s, early 80s, right? This
Yeah, I
is
mean this is basically like this is almost like more like what Doctor Who is actually supposed to be when it started.
that is a great that really seemed like Doctor Who-ish. In fact, that's what I would compare this to. Brilliant. Yeah. No, it's very
Because
much so.
Doctor Who was supposed to be educational, right? And that
Yeah.
the wheels quickly fell off of that. Whereas in this one, the teleporter does bring like historical figures to them. The
Oh,
second
okay.
season, I think a couple of get teleported to like the War of 1812. Like they kept the conceit going for their two seasons. So
That's great. Yeah, I did notice when I looked it up just to find out, if anybody I'd heard of was involved with this, that all like it's 2 seasons, 20 episodes each, same writer, same director for the whole thing. So
yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's probably why it's consistent.
And of course, it's on YouTube now. But no, I've had a weird obsession with this. I think about 2004, I had actually ordered some like gray
Bootlegs,
area DVDs
yeah.
just to be able to see it again, and they all look like crap. Like the YouTube print is like way better than what I saw. So I spent cash money for those.
Oh man. Okay, yeah, I never knew, man. I never knew. So the two girl characters in this, you've got the brunette, which was Stacy,
um,
and the
Samantha's the brunette, Lynn is the blonde.
Lynn is the blonde.
I made a note that they're like a low rent Thelma and Daphne, but
Well, they are, except for um. So Samantha seems to be the smart one. I hate to say it, but don't you find, because she kind of leads um Lynn to the answers for everything. She like
right.
does like almost the entire thing, and then she's like, "Come on, Lynn, don't make me do all this. I know the answer." She's very like patient with Lynn.
And then Lynn's like, "Oh well, won't be a problem. She knows the answer. I froze her." It's like, "Hey, aren't they in it together? You can't do that. They're a package."
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But
That's why it's
yeah,
evil.
yeah, it's for those of you who've not seen it, it's the setup is just strange. You're like, well, how are they given problems in the problem pit? The pit is not something that they're like looking up from the bottom of. Pit is more like conversation pit. It's just like a general area that they're in, kind of small. But literally, the robot comes over and hands them one of the set of questions on a clipboard with orange Xerox paper. So when I say they had a lot of budget, that doesn't pertain to this area of the show. That was it's like they ran out of money. Just here, just some loose leaf.
Right. But keep in mind, besides just the David Lynch nightmare escape vibe, when I was 6 years old, like the grammar questions stressed me out too. And then Dunedin's like, I'm gonna like consume your soul if you don't answer this grammar question.
Yeah, that's true. And also, P.S. It's really not completely right because in order the one where it's a poem, the meter is right, but like they've left words out because it didn't fit. You know what I mean? We're like, there's articles gone. Like there's no a and the. I just was like, oh man, okay, it's awkward. I would stress me out too.
Yeah, that's why these are why it's such an evil place with evil
Yeah,
problems
and then
that don't make
the other
sense.
one, the other one was like a Price is Right kind of a thing where they had to put a bunch of words down. The kid becomes stressed, smoke starts to shoot out, and each episode's about like what, like a 15-minute, something like that, 10, 15.
Yeah, each episode's 15 minutes.
So this one was a cliffhanger.
Right. It's always a
So I
cliffhanger, I think.
okay, well, I didn't expect this to be one part of a series or two have a cliffhanger ending. I assume they made it out because it was like, several more episodes.
No, they just kill kids every few episodes.
If it was Disney making it, I would believe you.
Yeah. But I don't know how many of the plot descriptions you looked at, but yeah, they get increasingly more whack. Where there's an episode where Captain Hook just comes out of the teleporter, like hold them hostage for 10 minutes or so.
Oh, dude, that sounds amazing. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to check some of them out because I thought you may have picked this one because of how weird it is. Because it is weird, but it sounds like it just gets increasingly like random and strange.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to get one that had a lot of the Dunedin guy in it because he's the most traumatizing, right?
God, he's scary. I'm so glad they don't. I bet you on purpose they didn't give a really good close up on him when he first shows up because it would be frightening to see his face. Kind of like in the Wizard of Oz, right? When they encounter the wizard in the Emerald City, he's a fiery disembodied head, and when those close-ups can freak people out. So he remains at the far side of the room. You can
I
tell he's
think in the credits there actually is a close up on him.
the credits are freaky, you know. And there are freaky shows from around that time that I remember as a kid. There was one called Dr. Shrinker that I remembered seeing, and that one had a weird vibe. As a matter of fact, I was like, that can't have been that creepy. I looked it up on YouTube. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I'm just like these are the kids that end up on the milk cartons.
Yeah. Oh, it was there was less concern for who was supposed to be watching it back
Yeah,
then, I'd have to
yeah.
say.
That kid who's on the milk carton, they're on Zircon now.
Zircon? Is that the drug that they use to recover from it, or is that the name of the planet they went to?
It's the name of the planet, but I feel like that should be the drug you take to end up on the planet as well. You take Zircon to end up on Zircon.
Yeah, now see, you can take 2 tablets, but don't take more than 2 tablets. 2.5, we can't vouch for what's going to happen to you. Bam, Zircon.
I just had that actual conversation about DMT 2 weeks ago
Sure you did.
because they had to work it out. So the first volunteers they gave the 2.5 pills to, and then kind of pulled it back. Like
Backed out of the back.
it was so in well, it was an intravenous,
Sure.
drug in this case. But yeah, it was so much like they just couldn't like even report on what had happened anymore. They were like,
Great.
okay, let's at least try and keep it this coherent. But yeah, coherent again with quotation marks around it.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, given what it is, yeah, no, that's great.
But yeah, you mentioned a theme song, very very dope ass theme song. 80s were definitely good for kids show theme songs. Where we got 3, 2, 1 Contact. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, I love, speaking of Electric Company, that had some great ones in it. And you get
Yeah.
to think about all the great animation that was involved. The Canadian stuff by comparison, and I don't think it really makes a difference that PBS was the company that distributed it versus Nickelodeon or something like that. They all had the kind of general look and feel to them. They yeah it I think the weirdest one was probably the Great Space Coaster. Did you ever see that one?
I remember the theme song, but I think that's about it.
Man, that had a great theme song though. Great Space Coaster.
I
Yeah.
know I watched it because there's no way I would have seen that and then not sat down to watch it for the next however long it lasted.
Well, it had puppets in it. This is where Gary Gnu came from.
Oh, right. Okay. I saw shitloads of the Great Space Coaster then. I just didn't quite attention. It probably came on after this, right?
It may have, but how did I miss? That's my real takeaway from. I mean, I enjoyed watching it. It was stressful, but read all about it. Yeah, what my takeaway from it was, I'm still like, how did I miss this? I mean, how would you not have thought? Was I just really judgmental about public television and didn't want to,
I wrote down all the grammar shit and the stressed me out when I was 6 years old. So by the time we started hanging out, I'd probably somewhat forgotten this existed,
Okay, all right,
except in the
wow.
subcon. Like, well, I obviously never forgot it existed because it kept creeping in my subconscious where I was ordering, weird bootleg DVDs of it and stuff. But
Yeah, so why not? Yeah, no,
I think
that's
probably by the late 80s, I don't think it was on TV at the time. Is probably the short answer. Again, that's why I
okay.
only have weird fading memories of the space coaster probably. So
Well, I can imagine that the actors in this, the ones who played like Lydia and God, I'm gonna keep messing this up, Samantha, uh, didn't go on to do anything else. But I did look up the artwork for read all about it, and sure enough, it looks terrifying. It looks like an old, like some kind of a paperback sci-fi novel.
right. So excuse me. I think hopefully I cleared my throat out far enough from the mic there. But yeah, you can. This is one that you can definitely get into on YouTube. They're like quick bites. There are definitely some equally trippy ones to this one. There's a second season arc, I think, where Samantha moves, and it's like this is the only one that has like no sci-fi or fantasy elements. Like, who wants to watch that?
Yeah, no. If you're a fan, why would that interest you? Yeah.
Yeah, really. Well,
Ugh.
I guess like the Buck Rogers show, where the first season's gold and the second season gets wonky.
Yeah. Well, if you're a fan of the actor at that point, I guess it would be interesting
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
kept the same cast.
No, well, they sort of kind of did and sort of kind of didn't, I think.
Well,
So
it's like American Horror Story.
yeah. It's almost equally disturbing in some ways.
No, I thought it definitely played into those memories I have, those bizarre shows from around that time that I saw that just, yeah, I don't think they intended to be as creepy as they were and seemed to kind of take some care with how creepy they actually were, but still, yeah, the desired effect not achieved.
Oh, I wrote down this quote. That's good. I don't remember why it was. Don't touch it yet. I've got gas.
Did they really say that?
I'm pretty sure in context it made a lot more sense.
Because at one point yeah, it's coming through there's some kind of smoke coming through when they're trying. That's what ramps up the tension and the anxiety.
Yeah. So I guess this is the Canadian version of an MK Ultra experiment. That's why you never saw these actors again.
I was just getting ready to say, when people are only in the one show or movie, it starts to make you wonder what happened to them.
Yeah. Well, I could see like in Ontario, just go to the local, junior high and get a couple kids for this, and they shoot it fast and quick and dirty, and yeah, then they send them back to school.
I don't know, they were really good. I thought both actors were really good.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
that
whoever played the villain, or whoever he was, the main alien, God, he definitely got a white van at some point in his life.
as the mayor. Yeah. You're gonna have to watch more so you can see him as the mayor.
Oh, God, that's a trip. They did the way they did with the name, what you said. It's hilarious.
Yeah, they end up finding the dead uncle somewhere on Zircon, I think, at some point. So we can spoiler this stuff. Nobody cares. Hell, in
Okay.
this case, the spoilers are probably good because then you know what to expect, right? This is a case
Oh,
where
sure.
spoilers are good.
No, I have a feeling anyone who goes into watching Read All About It is going to be looking for just really inappropriate kind of tone for children's programming.
I'm having a look here and see if I can find a few of the plot descriptions. Ontario, because there's like a George Harrison song called "Read All About It." There's like I keep been sending like a 2011 rap song about it, right? So
Oh man, no,
called that, not about it, called "Read All About It," I should say.
okay, yeah, no, I was very surprised at just the whole vibe of it. I was like, wow, for a random pick, this is nuts.
Let's see. Tis magic. Merlin the magician uses his magic powers to send Chris and Lynn to Trial Viron. I don't remember.
Trialvaron,
Maybe that's it. Okay.
Triavon.
Yeah, here we go. The transporter suddenly produces an irate Captain Hook who creates a few tense moments for the kids.
An irate Captain Hook. I suppose he's got to make him worse than the regular Captain Hook.
Lynn and Sam help Chris and his uncle escape from the planet of Maze by answering riddling questions. So,
Dude, just tell me, does Lynn or whatever her name is, does she ever get to do her math? Because she really desperately, she's like, oh, word problems. I'm a math person.
I can't remember, to be honest. I'm going to say yes, but actually now I'm looking at the I think Lynn gets left out. They're not playing to her strengths.
Well, it's not math all about it. This is what you signed up for.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find. Yeah, I'll get another one of these into the pike sometime. So,
Cool. Yeah, no,
uh,
I enjoyed this. I really did. I just was like having no frame of anything in terms of context. I was dropped into the universe of Read All About It and quite enjoyed myself.
same thing for me. Uh, okay, subconscious hooks, man. I think the first time I saw Red Dwarf, it was like midnight on PBS, right? And
Yeah.
it was the first season when where it had that creepy opening, and I think that like lit a fire that kind of
Ah, yeah.
cross reference with
No.
this. That's the one thing with Red Dwarf. I like the show quite well, but why did they change the theme song from those first two seasons? That was so awesome.
No. Were you the one I got the Red Dwarf tapes for from Blockbuster? It
I
was either you or Dan.
must have been Dan.
Okay.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
me the
because
Kurosawa because I
oh,
didn't
that's right.
I didn't get the Red Dwarf till it was on DVD. I think so.
Okay, yeah, no, he must have been the one that was into it because I was like, yeah, we got the whole thing. I've rented it, so no one else can have it now that I've watched it, and I'm sending it to you.
But yeah, so that kind of a little bit of the same feel, I guess. Weird 80s
Yeah, no, I'm
television
familiar with
sci-fi.
it, and like, if I was a kid and saw that late at night, just, you know,
Oh, I love seeing that. But I guess we'll wrap this one. So give them the link to the thing.
oh, the thing to the link. Okay, well, lovely as always to be featured on oral hygiene, not oral hygiene. Oral is your mouth. Oral is the ears.
Right. Well, you should
Um,
keep both hygienic.
yeah, no, it's a must. And then of course for the nose, just the finger, not washed or unwise
Right.
otherwise. My friends and I make movies here in Athens, Georgia, in the United States. Gonzorific, Gonzorific. So you can go to our gonzorific.com and check out all the things: the YouTube channel, the shop, the merch, and the journal, and the social pages where you get to see behind the scenes stuff and things and such.
As for his podcast, it's Oral Hygiene Pod at Twitter, Facebook, and the like. You can hear episodes way early on our Patreon, which is under Podcastio Podcastius. So I guess you go to Patreon, you look that up, and you can hear whatever's on the cooker. So I guess we'll get you back to the newspaper, get that second edition ready.
That's right, man. And take a few extra zircon to stay up late.